Liberty University, Conference USA. Multiple reports are indicating, and this is a breaking, still developing story. Multiple reports are indicating that Conference USA is considering adding Liberty University after the American Athletic Conference swooped in and took 6 of their teams. So Conference USA already at 14 teams, we left with 8. They're looking to add teams to save the conference. They're considering Liberty University. What's more cataclysmic or what's more important in this story is that inside sources are indicating that Liberty University, their athletic department, and their the members within Liberty University are considering a move to Conference USA, that they are in favor of a move to Conference USA. This is the worst news for Flames fans and for Liberty University as a whole. The fact that Liberty is not a candidate for the American Athletic Conference, not even the Sun Belt, but is being considered for Conference USA, and the fact that there's indications that Liberty is on board with this should be devastating news to Liberty University fans. And I'm going to demonstrate in this video why Liberty moving to Conference USA would be the worst move that the school could make, not just for their future history, but again, of all the moves that Liberty's made, this would be the worst move in school history so far. In recent surveys, there's been a varying of results among fans on this move. Now, in a Flames Nation poll, it was a definite, absolute do not join. Out of 220 people surveyed, 70% said no, Liberty should not join Conference USA. In a wider net poll spread by A Sea of Red, which surveyed 760 people so far, the survey is still ongoing at the point of this video, but 760 people so far, 53% said yes, 47% said no. So at the very worst, that it's a split. This is splitting the fan base on whether this is a good move. And if you are among those who think that this is a good move, you need to watch this video. I hope that it's not likely, but I hope that some of Liberty's administration is watching this video, because this will prove definitively that joining Conference USA comes with no benefits and would be one of the worst moves that Liberty could make. Let's get into it. So first off, the number one reason Conference USA is the worst conference in the FBS. They have out of their and so let's just talk about this season, then we'll talk about it overall. This season, out of their 14 teams, only 5 of them have winning records. Only 5 teams in their entire conference have winning records. They have the worst record, again, in non-conference play against Group of 5 and a Power 5. They have the worst record in non-conference play, sitting at 23-31, only winning 49% of their non-conference matchups. Against Power 5, they have the second worst performance in the Group of 5 playing Power 5 teams. They've only won 2 games against the Power 5, and that's despite playing, I think it was 14 games against the Power 5. So they have one of the worst non-conference records, period, and then they also have the second worst record against Power 5 in the Group of 5. Sports Illustrated, Bleacher Report, and Athlon Sports all rate the Conference USA as one of the bottom 2 conferences in the nation. Out of the 10 FBS conferences, they rate them in the bottom 2 conferences in the country. That's 3 major sports sites all rating them in that level. And this is not just this season. Over the last 5 years, now taking out the 6 members that are going to be moving to the American Athletic Conference, and you look what's left, the remaining 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, like I said, of the remaining 8 teams here, this is their record over the last 5 years. Marshall, 35-26, has only won 57% of their games, and they're one of the better teams in this conference, has only won 57% of their games, has one season under 50%, and has 0 10-win games. Western Kentucky has only won 34 out of 30, 35 wins, 26 losses. Western Kentucky, 34 wins, 30 losses, has only won 53% of their games, has 3 seasons with sub 50% records, and they're not the only team on this list with that with that record there. Only 1 season with 10 plus wins. Middle Tennessee University, 30 wins, 31 losses. Only won 49% of their games, has 2 seasons sub 50% and 0 10-plus win seasons. FIU, 27 wins, 29 losses. Has only won 48% of their games. 3 sub 50% seasons, 0 wins in 2020, and 0 10-plus win seasons. Old Dominion, which at one point was being held up as the standard for what Liberty helps to attain in the FBS, and I believe they're in their 6th season here so far, or maybe it's their 7th season. But anyhow, they're very new, 2014, so 6, 7. So 7th season here in the FBS. 20 wins over the last 5 years, 29 losses, only won 41% of their games, have 4 sub 50% win seasons, have 1 10-plus win season in that time, but has a 1 win season and a 0 win season also in that time. UTEP, this is the worst team in the entire conference. UTEP has 9 wins to 47 losses, has only won 16% of their games, obviously 5 sub 50% seasons, 2 1-loss seasons and 2 1-win seasons and 1 0-win season. Louisiana Tech, who honestly by the record is the best team in this conference, has still only won 39 of their games and lost 24, has actually won 62%, so they would actually be a decent team in this conference. But still, compared to the rest of it, they still have one season where they only won 50% of their games and only have 1 10-plus win season, 10 or more win season. Then Southern Miss, 31 wins, 29 losses, 52% overall, 150 sub 50% win season, and also 0 10 or more win seasons. So these are the teams that Liberty's left. This is the bottom of the barrel of college football. These are among, if not the worst teams in the FBS that is left of this conference. And the teams that are leaving, honestly, if we took their records, and I don't have them written down here, but they're not that much better overall. UAB is really the only team of those that are leaving that actually has been a little bit of a legitimate contender here in Conference USA or in college football overall. So this is the worst conference in college football. This is not a step up for Liberty. Their seat, a 8-game conference schedule against this would be much weaker than what Liberty is able to put together by themselves as an independent. Second thing here, poor bowl tie-ins. As far as primary bowls go, Conference USA doesn't have a single Power 5 bowl team matchup. They do have a game set against BYU, and so that's kind of a Power 5, but they're not officially a Power 5. And BYU joining the Big 12, they're going to lose that. BYU is going to be linked into the Big 12 schedule, so that's going to be off the table. They have games against the MAC, who actually by the Sports Illustrated Bleacher and Athlon was rated as the worst conference in college football. I think that Conference USA is worse, but anyhow, MAC, one of the worst conferences in college football. They have games against the MAC, AAC, Mountain West, BYU, and Sun Belt. That's it. That's all their primary bowl tie-ins. They do have some secondary bowl tie-ins with some better teams, but honestly, they're not going to be filling those in most cases. And versus what Liberty already has. Liberty has secondary bowl tie-ins with ESPN in 5 bowls that are all a couple of the same ones here, but the rest of them are better than this. Liberty has a chance to actually get into much better bowl games as an independent compared to what they can get into the Sun Belt. Liberty, as they develop, already 4th season FBS has already cemented themselves in with different bowl tie-ins. They can go the route of BYU. BYU, an independent, worked themselves up, played Power 5 teams, got a good schedule together, put themselves on the national stage, and earned quality bowl wins. Liberty can do that, and they're going to do that. The better that Liberty does, and the more success they have the last few seasons, the more money that they continue to pour into their athletic programs, we'll get to that later, they're going to earn these better bowl bids. Those will come with time. If Liberty joins the Conference USA, they're going to be locked into these garbage bowl bids, and that's it. Because my third point here is that Liberty doesn't get a chance. People are saying, well, if Liberty got into a conference, they might be able to win that conference and then have a chance at the New Year's Six. Liberty joining Conference USA has less chance of getting to New Year's Six than they do now. Yes, the highest ranked Group of 5 champion gets to go to New Year's Six, but that is never, it has never, and it will never be Conference USA. Even an undefeated team from Conference USA would probably not be picked over a 1-loss team for the Mountain West or for the American Athletic Conference. The Sun Belt team, the Sun Belt Conference overall strength of conference, especially compared to what the College Football Playoff Committee is considering, not the AP, which is a little more biased, but what the College Football Playoff Committee looks at, Conference USA is never, ever, ever going to get a champion into the College Football into the New Year's Six unless something cataclysmic happens where every other Group of 5 team, Group 5 champion has like 2 losses or something like that. And maybe not even in that case. Honestly, Conference USA is that bad that maybe even a 2-loss Mountain West team might be able to get in over a undefeated Conference USA team. So if Liberty joins this conference, yeah, they get a few more primary bowl tie-ins, but they're not significantly better than what Liberty is going to be looking at already right now. If Liberty gets bowl eligible, they're going to get to a bowl, and that bowl is going to be at least as good, if not better, than these ones. And right now in the independent set, Liberty is not locked into these crummy bowl games. Sorry, if Liberty's not locked into these crummy bowl games. If Liberty continues to have success, they will get better bowl bids versus if Liberty has success in Conference USA, they're still going to have these crummy bowl bids no matter how good they are. The third big thing here, and this is the big one, this is what if Liberty administration is watching this is the bit that they should listen to. The TV contracts for Conference USA are absolutely terrible. They are the worst TV contracts out of all the Group of 5 conferences. When most of the Group of 5 conferences added TV revenue last year and the year before that, when they were when ESPN and Fox and CBS Sports and everybody else was bidding for the different TV contracts were coming due, and they were bidding for the new contracts. Every other conference, as far as I'm tracking, gained or increased the revenue that they're getting. Conference USA actually lost revenue. Conference USA went from a total package of $14 million in TV revenue to $2 million. They lost $12 million in TV revenue from their contract that they signed in 2020. And that contract pulls through 2025. That is how bad Conference USA is. Conference USA is garbage. And this is for a conference that actually has larger, as far as the bases out of where these schools play from, they actually have large TV markets. And they lost $12 million. That is how bad this team is. This conference is. This conference is not going to financially add to Liberty. It's not going to add to them athletically by their level of competition, and it's not going to move Liberty in the right direction. Right now, each team in Conference USA gets $400,000 per member. I could not find what Liberty gets, but even if Liberty's contract right now is less than that, Liberty can, like I said, Liberty just with the bowl tie-ins, Liberty is going to be able to build to a better TV contract. Yeah, right now a lot of it's on ESPN Plus. But Liberty, as they continue to improve, as they continue to build their reputation, 4 seasons in, already one of the top out of the bottom dwellers, 4 seasons in, they're already into the upper level of Group of 5 competition. If they continue to build their name, their brand, they're going to be able to get, maybe within a few years here, be able to get a TV contract that puts them out there and puts them into the viewership that they deserve, similar to what BYU or Notre Dame gets. Not Notre Dame, sorry, that's an overstatement. But Liberty definitely, legitimately, is going to be able to put themselves on the same level of what BYU is being able to negotiate for, has been able to negotiate for as an independent, if they stay independent. If they get locked in, they're locked into this terrible, terrible contract that honestly, no matter with the teams that are left, right now, basically Conference USA is considering adding Liberty and JMU. That does not add to the strength of this conference enough to be able to justify increasing the TV package with the teams that are left. In fact, that package is probably going to go down compared to what it's at right now. Liberty by itself has a better chance of increasing the TV revenues as an independent. And the final reason, and this is probably the part I'm going to talk about for the longest bit here, the final reason that Liberty should not make this move to Conference USA is that it would destroy Jerry Falwell Sr. for Liberty. Jerry Falwell Sr.'s vision for Liberty. It would destroy his vision that Liberty could become for evangelical Christians what BYU is for Mormons and what Notre Dame is for Catholics. Liberty right now, as an independent, is able to market themselves. They have the capability to market themselves as top tier Group of 5, and maybe with a few, if they start scheduling these games and beating more Power 5 teams, they can market themselves as a Power 5 team. If they're stuck in Conference USA, they cannot do that. You cannot market yourself as a Power 5 team from within Conference USA. Now, will the nation accept it? Maybe not, but you know what? BYU, for the wide part, has been generally accepted as one of the top Group of 5 to a somewhat Power 5 level team. That's what they've generally been viewed as, and now their move to the Big 12 is justifying that perception. Liberty, right now, has that chance to be able to fight and get into a Power 5 conference in the future, but has the chance to be able to market themselves as a top Group of 5 potential Power 5 team. And that's how you install that vision of becoming, for evangelical Christians, what BYU is for Mormons and what Notre Dame is for Catholics. Jerry Falwell Sr. realized that it's through the football program. But if you bury your football program in Conference USA, there are a lot of other Christian universities. Now, are they as committed to Christian values as Liberty University? I don't think so. I think Liberty University is the most committed of all, at least of all Division I FBS teams for sure. But once you bury yourself in Conference USA, that is a massive step back. You are no longer playing on the same national level. You no longer have the same matchups, and you no longer are able to market yourself to the nation as a whole as being that signal bearer, as that standard bearer for the evangelical Christian community in the football world. Nobody wants to tune in, even if they have potentially a religious or academic tie to Liberty, or faint academic tie for a lot of the online students. A lot of those people aren't going to want to tune in to watch Liberty play, Middle Tennessee and FIU every single week. That's not going to build your base, your fan base. There might be people that right now there's Liberty has a massive fan base to pull from. Over 100,000 students online, and then, like I said, they're representing the evangelical Christian community as a whole, which is a massive chunk of America. And they have that ability to draw people in with that connection, and then have them stay and keep watching as fans with the games with the matchups that they're able to put together. But if they lock themselves into Conference USA, that opportunity goes away. Liberty right now, the biggest issue is that there's two competing visions of Liberty University, or two competing views of Liberty University. There's the one view, and this is a view that unfortunately it looks like Liberty administration leadership itself holds, which is incredibly disappointing, that Liberty University is a young FBS nobody out of Lynchburg, Virginia, that they're a tiny FBS school that needs some conference to be able to protect them and strengthen them. And there's another competing vision of Liberty, which I think is the true one, that Liberty University is a conference that is is a team that is leaps and bounds ahead of where they should be at this point, that they have surpassed what any other FBS team has done in the first 4 years of being an FBS program, and that they have leapfrogged over the normal developmental period and attained in just 4 years the playing field, the plane of competition that most teams don't achieve for 10 years down the road from being an FBS program. Liberty University in 4 seasons has gone from 6-6 their first season. So they already pulled even their first FBS season. Not a lot of new FBS teams can say that. To 8-5 their next season, and that was with their coach being banged up from a surgery that he'd had and wasn't really able to install Hugh Freeze being able to install his vision into this program. To 10-1 their third season with 2 bowl victories, only 3 seasons in. I didn't look through all 130 teams in the FBS and their initial games. I might save that for another video, but I wanted to get this one out quickly. But I believe, and if you want to do that research, do that work, by all means go in and correct me. But it is my belief that no other team in college football has been that successful that quickly in the first 3 seasons, has been able to go 2 bowl wins and a 10-win season and not have a losing season in their first 3 years in FBS. That is incredible. And it's because Liberty prepared themselves before they even got to this level. Liberty has a multi-million-dollar athletic budget. They have a brand new stadium expansion, which increased the stadium capacity by 6,000 seats. They have a brand new indoor football facility. They have a brand new state-of-the-art student athletic support center. And they have plans. They actually have plans to build up this stadium to 60,000 people. Liberty has set themselves in the right foot. Liberty has been an FBS level program for several years before they even joined in the FBS. When you talk about their athletic facilities, that's one of the reasons they were able to convince the NCAA to allow them to go to FBS as an independent, is because financially and institutionally, Liberty was FBS level already. So Liberty has already done a lot of that growing and that building that most FBS programs have to do before they even got here. And they are achieving it. They have already they've already achieved what most, like I said, what most programs don't achieve in their first stage. Liberty is already at being close to being one of the elite programs in the group of 5, only 4 years in. Now, yes, last week they lost to ULM. But that does not define this program. A lot of people looked at it, lost to ULM, and it is justifying their perspective. Oh, Liberty University, they're overrated. They're not dominant. They're not what we thought they were. If they can go out and lose to ULM, well, anybody can beat anybody. On any given Saturday, anybody can beat anybody, and Liberty honestly was overlooking that game. That's all that happened there. That is not definitive. That does not define Liberty as a program at what they have achieved so far. They are not a team that loses to ULMs on a regular basis. Liberty is not a team that is worse than ULM or on the same playing field. Liberty is 10 times the team that ULM is. But unfortunately, due to improper preparation and to overlooking in the squad, they lost to ULM. But that's not where Liberty is. Liberty's at a team that regularly, the last 2 years, and like I said, they are moving forward at a rate that is untouched by any other group of 5 team. Liberty is a team at this point is a team that goes out and crushes ULMs, that goes out and crushes North Texas, that goes out and has already crushed Middle Tennessee University. They are a team that goes and Old Dominion. They are a team that goes out and destroys those teams, and they deserve to be in the conversation for the larger conferences. I'm not saying they deserve to be Power 5, but at least American Athletic Conference. That is the level of achievement that Liberty is achieving right now. And the fact that people think that Liberty is a good fit, a good match for Conference USA is insulting and is not reflective of what this program has achieved overall so far this season. Liberty doesn't just bring football. They also have multiple sports. They have a basketball program that has been playoff level the last 3 years. Yeah, they didn't go during the COVID season, but they earned the right to go when the season got canceled. They have playoff wins. This is a program that brings football. They bring baseball. They bring multiple high-level achieving club sports, a successful women's softball program, track and field, an incredible swim program. Liberty brings all of the sports. They are a great all-around sports member for at least the American Athletic Conference. Liberty deserves to be in a conference worthy of them. And Conference USA, not only are they not worthy of Liberty University, but they are not the conference that's going to bring Liberty to achieving their goals. Liberty University is not a university that just wants to exist in the FBS. They want to go out and they want to dominate. Liberty has Power 5 goals. That is the ultimate conclusion, the ultimate end of Jerry Falwell Sr.'s vision for Liberty University is to be at the top level of college football, to be Power 5. And honestly, the way that Liberty is achieving right now, the rate of success that they're having and the amount of money that they are pouring into their facilities, that goal is achievable maybe even in the next 10 years for this program. The ceiling on this school is endless. It's one of the highest ceilings in college football at the rate that they are achieving right now, and with the fan base that they can tap into, and the facilities that they have and are able and have plans to expand to, and the financial means to put those into works. Liberty has that capability. If they join Conference USA, all of that goes away. All of the work that Liberty has done is ruined. All of it is destroyed. There is no way that Conference USA can support a 60,000 person stadium for Liberty University. There is no way that Conference USA sets Liberty up to get to the Power 5. If Liberty was in Conference USA, they probably don't even get into the Power 5 in the next 15 years, maybe 20 years. Liberty University, if they join Conference USA, joins that conference in perpetual mediocrity, which is what that conference brings to all of its members. Now, a few of those teams are being able to escape to the American Athletic Conference, and maybe Liberty could go that route. But why go backwards to go forwards? Just keep playing independent, keep scheduling these big teams, do what BYU has done. BYU was stuck in the Mountain West, and at that time it was stuck in the Mountain West. They were not going anywhere. Utah got an offer to go to the Pac-12. BYU got passed up. BYU said, we're done with this. They went independent. They started scheduling their own schedules. They set themselves up. They differentiated themselves from the normal group of 5, put them on the cusp of Power 5 program status, played Power 5 programs on a regular basis, maybe didn't beat all of them. They had a lot of 8 and 9 win seasons, but they beat enough to get themselves into the national perspective and to get the respect to bring the coaches in to bring the players in, to recruit. That's something I haven't even mentioned yet. They'll be able to put themselves in the discussion to be Power 5, and finally a conference opened up and brought them in the Big 12. Liberty can do that, but Liberty is not going to be able to bring in the recruits needed to get them into the next level, to get them into being a team that can go out and regularly beat Power 5 programs. They're not going to get those recruits in Conference USA. Minimal TV exposure, terrible matchups are not a good recipe for bringing in recruits. They're coach-wise, once Hugh Freeze moves on from Liberty University, whenever that happens, if they're in Conference USA, they are not getting a coach of that caliber. Right now, as an independent, they have the unique pull of being a strong Christian university, and they can market themselves as more than just a Group of 5 team, an elite Group of 5, potentially Power 5 program as an independent. They can market themselves that way, and they present, like I said, great matchups. They can present those opportunities, those options to higher level coaches coming into Liberty University who might be attracted as Christians, might be attracted by an ability to come out and freely express their Christian faith, which is not something you get at a lot of universities. But if Liberty goes to Conference USA, while Liberty will still have the pull of being a Christian university, the rest of everything else goes off the table. And honestly, a lot of coaches, this is a business. They're in it for the money. They're in it for the exposure. And you're not getting that in Conference USA. Liberty's going to miss out on opportunities to bring in great coaches and to bring in great first-round draft pick athletes like Malik Willis. They're going to miss out on that opportunity in Conference USA. There's no way they're able to bring in the same pool that they currently do if they move from independent status to Conference USA. It is a massive step. It's not just a small step backwards. It's not a lateral move. Liberty is not at Conference USA status, and that needs to be absolutely clear. Now, Liberty needs to go out and dominate these next two mid-level teams and play competitively, if not win some of those, the Ole Miss, Louisiana, and Army games down the road. They need to win those, and they need to not necessarily win all of them. They need to be competitive in those, and they need to destroy North Texas, and they need to destroy UMass, continue to prove that they've reached that next level of success. But if they're able to do that, which I strongly believe that they are, and that they will be able to do that, it proves that Liberty is not at this level of competition anymore. First year in the FBS, sure, they would have been an okay fit for Conference USA. I think that even at that point, they were potentially moving beyond what Conference USA has to offer, but maybe at that point they would be. When Liberty was offering Conference USA millions of dollars to accept them when they were FCS, sure, at that point, but already by their second season, they were showing signs that they were no longer a team that is a good fit for Conference USA, and in their third season and fourth season, they have moved completely beyond the realms of discussion for a Conference USA team. There is no way that like I said, Conference USA, they add nothing to Liberty in way of matchups, in way of in way of TV viewership, in way of bringing recruitment. They do not build Liberty to being the program that Jerry Falwell Sr. envisioned that Liberty would be. Liberty University, if Conference USA comes knocking, they need to give them a definitive no. We're staying put. We're holding tight. We are going to build to something bigger and better, and that does not begin with Conference USA. You should never aim for a C grade, and C USA is not where Liberty wants to be putting themselves. Thank you for watching this video. If you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe, please. I won't be wearing this the rest of the time for my videos. I'll be wearing my Boise State stuff. But it's not just Boise State stuff. I also do generic college football discussion as well, and Liberty comes up in a lot of those. So thank you for watching this video. Make sure you like and subscribe. And I've got to do it. This is my channel. This is what it's about. Go Big Blue. That felt weird to do in the Liberty. And also, go Flames. There we go.